I never planned to orchestrate a public spectacle, but when the HOA's $200,000 bridge crumbled into my lake, their president, Vivian Holt, called it a crime as she flailed in the mud, her tailored suit ruined. Her horrified glare as she sank, mascara streaking, was worth every sleepless night of the 3-month hell she'd unleashed. Petty to smile as cameras rolled? Maybe. But after her campaign to steal my family's land, that karmic plunge felt like justice. Where are you reading this? Share your HOA horror story below, and let me tell you how my fight to save my lakeside haven turned a shoddy bridge into their downfall. I'm Nathan Hayes, 58, a retired civil engineer who settled on my 5-acre lakeside property 6 months ago, craving peace after 25 years in the military. This land, my dad's legacy, was where I learned to fish and built my first treehouse. Inherited from my grandfather, who bought it in the 1950s, it was pristine woodland and shoreliney slice of paradise. I planned to restore Dad's cabin, add a workshop for vintage cars, and savor sunsets with a beer. The taxes were low, the views stunning, and the few neighbors I'd met seemed decent. Then Vivian Holt, Pinecrest Estates HOA president, knocked. Vivian, 52, with flawless blonde hair and a smile that never warmed her eyes, pitched a footbridge across my land to link the neighborhood to a public park. A community gem, she said. Just sign here. I declined. A bridge would ruin my shoreline and bring strangers through my yard. I value my privacy, I said. Dad protected this lake for 40 years. I will too. Her smile tightened. Check your deed, Nathan. An easement may give us rights. She left a folder and clicked away in her heels. Her confidence unnerved me. I'd reviewed the deed when I inherited no easements allowed construction. That night, I spread Dad's meticulous records deeds, surveys, tax files across my table. A vague rite of passage clause from 30 years ago existed, but it didn't cover bridges. The ambiguity screamed legal trouble. The next day, my neighbor Clara Bennett, a county clerk, forwarded an HOA meeting notice I wasn't sent. I skipped at my first mistake. 3 days later, a certified letter announced the Pinecrest Lake Bridge, approved unanimously, set to start in 30 days. They weren't asking, they were invading. I called my old military buddy, Ethan Walsh, now a property lawyer. They're twisting a utility easement, he said, reviewing the docs. It's shaky, but HOAs bank on you folding. Let's get creative. His grin hinted at a plan. Ethan confirmed the clause was for utilities, not structures, but its vagueness gave the HOA wiggle room. They thrive in gray areas, he said over coffee. We need leverage to shift the cost-benefit. We dug into Pinecrest's projects and found Riverfront Builders, owned by Mark Sullivan, had won every contract for 3 years odd for competitive bids. Costs were inflated. A $15,000 tennis court cost $28,000. A clubhouse redo doubled market rates. The $200,000 bridge? Nearby ones cost $100,000. Someone skimming, Ethan said. Clara, who'd faced Vivian's wrath over her non-compliant mailbox, joined us. Vivian's been president 5 years, she said, pulling county records. Her ex-husband, Paul Grayson, is the city's building inspector. Permits sail through. Clara's dining room became our war room, piled with maps and zoning laws. She'd journaled Vivian's selective fines targeting dissenters to silence them. Her key find, my land, bought pre-HOA, had a grandfather clause limiting their control. No bridge without your consent, Ethan said. Armed with this, I confronted Vivian's surveyors staking my shore. Private property, I said. Leave. They flashed an HOA signed order, but I held firm. The next day, a $400 fine arrived for obstructing community projects. Then came citations for tall grass and unapproved lights. I installed cameras. Vivian's crew tried soil tests next. I blocked them, recording, no permission, no entry. A letter threatened lawsuits. Ethan uncovered Riverfront's consulting fees to Vivian $12,000 for the bridge. Kickbacks, he said. We found Paul Grayson signed off on Riverfront's past violations, linked to his new wife, a Riverfront investor. This bridge is Vivian's revenge, Ethan said. At the HOA meeting, Vivian's PowerPoint dazzled with bridge renderings, promising 12% property value hikes. She skipped the wetland damage and my yard's invasion. I asked, Where's my consent? Why riverfront, with no bridge experience? And why hide the 10% HOA fee hike? Murmurs spread. Vivian deflected, but residents bristled. Retired engineer Henry Larson, ousted by Vivian for questioning costs, approached me post-meeting. They sidelined me for challenging riverfront, he said. We teamed up. Ethan and I distributed flyers exposing the bridge's costs and shaky permits. Vivian called them lies, threatening defamation. She sent a tree crew to cut my century-old oak, citing hazards. I stopped them, and a cop confirmed their trespass. Half the tree was gone. Henry reviewed the bridge plans, spotting weak pilings and cheap materials. It won't last 3 winters, he said. My cameras caught Vivian taking an envelope from Mark at my boathouse, likely cash. I shared it with reporter Sarah Klein. Sarah's article questioned the bridge's approval and riverfront's contracts. Vivian countered with a press conference, unveiling fancier bridge designs to sway opinion. Neighbors turned cold, urging me to think of the community. Sarah found Vivian's ex's ties to riverfront, explaining her obsession. I fought isolation by opening my shore to kids, teaching ecology with Clara. Hayes Lake classroom drew families, infuriating Vivian. She stormed in, citing business violations. I smiled. It's free, Vivian. Just neighbors learning. She had no comeback. I nearly quit one night, browsing rural listings. Dad's words lands your legacy. Nathan stopped me. Ethan rallied me. Show her whose land this is. We planned to let the bridge fail naturally. Henry confirmed the shoddy concrete and supports would buckle under a load test. Physics will expose them, he said. I agreed, insisting on safety and documentation. Construction rushed ahead, weak concrete, minimal bracing, ignored standards. We recorded every flaw. The bridge looked grand from afar, but was a mess up close. Misaligned joints, thin waterproofing, stress supports. Vivian planned a lavish ribbon cutting with officials and a band. I RSVP'd, ready to watch. The day before, Mark filed fake inspection reports, signed by an absent engineer. They're desperate, Henry said. At the ceremony, Vivian glowed, leading the mayor and board onto the bridge post-ribbon cut. Henry whispered, the cables are straining. As 30 people crowded on, against the 15-person limit, I texted Ethan, too much weight. Vivian taunted, join us, Nathan. I shouted, clear the bridgeites unsafe. She scoffed, pushing for a load test then and there. A crack sounded, then a louder snap. The bridge tilted, planks splitting. Panic erupted. I yelled, off now, guiding people to safety. The middle collapsed, dumping Vivian, Mark, and a few others into 4-foot-deep mud. I waded in, pulling a councilman out. Vivian emerged, suit trashed, bag sinking in muck, a perfect metaphor. Sarah snapped photos. Vivian shrieked, sabotage. Henry listed violations, weak concrete, fake inspections. Ethan showed collapse footage, proving physics, not foul play. Inspectors swarmed, confirming shoddy work. Sarah's expose revealed Vivian's kickbacks and Clay Schemy Land's deposits were her real target. The HOA ousted Vivian, electing Henry president. Mark faced fraud charges. Paul was suspended. I donated part of my shore to a conservation trust, banning extraction. Hayes Lake Classroom became a community hub. The new HOA mandated transparency. Neighbors apologized, and Sarah's series went national. One evening, a parent asked, regret fighting? I watched kids study turtles. No. This land's for memories, not money. Vivian's bridge was gone, nature reclaiming the shore. Sometimes, you let them build their trap, then watch it snap.